What's going on, Team Pickle?
What's up, guys?
So, we decided today to answer some questions that we keep getting asked.
All the time.
All the time. It's so funny because sometimes people are really conservative with the way that they ask questions, but then when they want to know something, they just lose all sense of boundary, and they'll ask like whatever they want.
Sometimes it's super rude, but I don't know.
And awkward, right? You're like, oh. But anyway, so today we brought our trusty notebook, and we're going to go through the 6 questions that we repeatedly get asked.
Yeah, because our interracial couple.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because realistically, I'm white and he's black, and we're together, so people want to know like, oh, like all these 6 questions that come along all the time.
All right.
Okay, so question number 1, JV, you can answer first.
Okay.
What did your parents say?
My parents, okay. So my mom didn't really have a problem with it because she's like all mixed up. She's like, she has black in her, Indian, and Scottish. So she's all mixed up, so she was cool with it. But my dad wasn't cool with it. Not us per se, but he wasn't cool with like interracial mixing way back when I was in grade 9. But then all my friends were multicultural. So then over time he got used to it, and after we met he didn't care at all.
Yeah,
so
your dad likes me.
Yeah, my dad,
yeah, and your mom. Everybody likes me.
Not everybody. I'm just joking.
Okay, so for me, what did my parents say? Nothing really. Like they didn't say anything. There was nothing. Hi, Bubby. This is our baby. Yeah, my parents, they weren't surprised. They weren't anything. They were so, actually, to tell you the truth, they were so excited that you were an electrician.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was their big thing, because
I get that all the time.
Yeah, they're like, oh, hello, Justin. And then their first question they asked him is, oh, what do you do? And he's like, I'm an electrician. And they're like, really? Could you come out down to the garage? We want to show you something. It's not working, this light switch. And then Justin ended up fixing it. And then he was like in the good books for life.
Yeah, they put me to work ever since.
Yeah, all the time. But they compensate you, right?
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, it's good. And it's so funny. So my dad always tries to like come up with nicknames for people. And then he calls JV the captain.
Captain Kirk.
Yeah, like Captain Kirk.
From Star Trek.
Yeah, so all the time, because he knows that Justin likes Star Trek and Star Wars and all that, and so he calls him Captain Kirk. And then he'll call and be like, oh, is the captain home? So I'm like, call his cell, Dad. Okay, so question number 2. This one is, it like gets under my skin sometimes, to be honest, but I'm always really polite and I just smile and answer because I know that they're just curious and they haven't figured out how to ask the question appropriately. So I'm gonna ask it to you how I've been asked.
You asked first.
Fine.
Actually.
Fine, you ask it to me the way that it's posed to me. Ready?
Hey.
Tell me what you think about this.
Hey, have you always been into black guys?
Right? Like, I was like, what do you mean? So I have dated like all kinds of guys, like different ethnic backgrounds. I don't really give a crap. My longest relationship was with a Chinese dude, but no one ever seems to remember that. They always remember me dating black guys, which drives me crazy because I'm like, I had this really long relationship, but no one ever notices. So I always just answer, you know, I'm attracted to a person. So if they're good and we click, I like them. I don't really care what they look like.
Yeah.
As long as they don't look like my brother, because that would be weird.
Okay.
Okay, now, Justin, have you always been into white girls?
Only white girls. That's it. No other race. So, I'm just joking.
Some people are like, unsubscribe.
No. We grew up in Toronto, and it's like super multicultural. So I don't care at all race. Like, I don't even look at race. Like, if the person, we get along and like you feel that chemistry and that love, then nothing matters. Like what, the color of your skin? Like who cares?
Rip off your skin like that Game of Thrones, you know, and then we're all the same inside.
Whoa, that got dark.
Ramsey? No? Okay, question number 3. Do people stare at you when you go on dates? So now when we were playing the question phase, I said to Justin, yeah, people stare at us when we go on dates. And he's like, what do you mean? We go on dates all the time. And I was like, no, errands are not dates. And if we stop to eat while we're out on an errand, it's not a date.
Okay, you guys help me out. We planned to go out to eat, so we got dressed, got ready, went to Jack Astor's.
Did we get fancy?
Had dinner, and we came home. And to me, that's a date. She said that's not a date.
It's not a date. We did not get dressed up. We just wore whatever we had on. Yeah, I put on a little bit of makeup, whatever, but it's not a date. Like our last date, we got nice and dressed up, and Justin wore one of his button-up shirts, and I wore a dress, and we went out and we looked all nice, and then we held hands, and I wore stilettos. That's a date.
That's a date, okay.
So in that sense, like when we go on dates, yes, people look at us, but I like to think it's because we look so amazing. But in everyday life, like, I'll sometimes get like dirty looks from girls, but like just it happens, and it's always from another race, like someone looking at us if we're holding hands and stuff. Like they think that we're just, I guess, a stereotypical couple, so that kind of hurts a bit sometimes. But I noticed it like the first couple years. Like now I don't notice anything.
Yeah, I don't notice it anymore.
Because when we're out, we're just like playing and having fun with each other, right? Yeah. So what about you? Any stares because you're with me?
No stares. I don't notice anything.
Yeah.
So it's been fine,
yeah. Okay, question number 4. JV. What did your friends say?
My friends are outraged. No, my friends are all multicultural. They're from all around the world. Like I have Asian, well, Chinese, Filipino, white, black, brown, so they don't, we're all cool with everything.
And you know, our situation is a little different than most couples because like I went to elementary school with a lot of Justin's friends, so I've known them since like the late 80s, early 90s, and no. And then we went to the same high school and stuff, so our friends know each other. Like I played volleyball, and then a lot of his friends played volleyball, so we would cross paths.
Yeah.
And even on the track team, like I would cross paths with some of them. Like I met his brother through track. But it's just like, so our situation's different. Like it was more like you're with Jane or you're with Justin.
Yeah.
More than that, because everyone knew who we were.
Right.
And it was so weird that we ended up together because I'm so out here and he's so like, you know. It's true, you're getting better. Okay, question number 5. What was your first encounter of racism as a couple?
The cruise.
The cruise.
Yeah. Yeah,
our first big vacation together.
Yeah, because it was a lot of older people, like a lot of like 50 and 60-year-olds, like, which is fine, but a lot of older people from the States, like all different
Americans.
Yeah, all Americans from different places. So I guess in some spots they're not used to.
Yeah, like it's no knock on them, you know. It's like it's just like they're not, like Toronto's such a special place.
Yeah.
Everyone is just like mix up, and like there's no judgment against anybody. You know, it's like a beautiful place, and nobody hates on you for being with whoever you're comfortable with. But on the cruise, first I was like, oh my god, they must think that we're famous, like Uma Thurman or like Will Smith, you know what I mean? But then those are who we like to believe that we look like. But anyway, then we were like, well, why weren't they taking pictures of us or asking for our autographs? And then it was like, why are they looking at us sort of angry if they think we're famous?
Yeah.
And then it occurred to us that they just didn't like the sight of us together.
Yeah, it wasn't cool.
I kind of felt pretty crappy. And I didn't feel crappy that we were together. I felt sad for them that their happiness can be affected by 2 people that they don't even know.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, really
Anybody
sad.
should be able to be with whoever they want to be with.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
No. Okay, so question number 6, the final question. This one I find the one that is asked the most frequently, and sort of throws me off every time. And you prepare for it because you hear it all the time, but it's still like, are you serious? So the first part's not so bad. Do you plan to have kids? like, yeah, we want to have kids.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, yeah, we want kids. And then it's, how will they identify themselves? Will they be black or will they be white? And you're just sort of like, I don't know how they're gonna identify themselves. Like, what we plan to do is, like, I'm white, but my parents both came to Canada from Ireland. Their parents were in Ireland, but our ancestors, there's like Dutch, Norwegian, Spanish,
Yeah.
Irish, English, like there's everything mixed up in us. And then we just came out looking like this, you know?
Yeah.
But I grew up in Toronto, actually more specifically in Scarborough. Justin grew up in Scarborough. Your family's all mixed up, everything, right?
Yeah, my family's all, my mom, like I said, she's like part Indian, part Scottish, part black. And my dad, I think, is just like way back, his African background. So like, we're all mixed up anyway.
Yeah, and
So,
frankly, we plan to raise our kids to be Canadian.
yeah.
And to be so proud to be from Toronto. You know, I mean, unless we move to Ajax, then I guess we'll have to be proud to be from Ajax.
Yeah.
But I don't see any issues or
Yeah,
like,
they'll be mixed just like most of the people on this planet.
yeah, they won't be like just identify as black or as white.
Yeah.
I think they'll identify as all sorts of things because they are going to be all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always an awkward, tough question. And anything else you want to add? Anything like that we miss that we get asked and we don't think about right now?
I don't know.
I know actually one moment I went to Beijing last year, and then I was with some women and they were asking me like, oh, do you have a husband? And I was like, well, sort of, like we're not married yet, but kind of. And then they're like, oh, do you have a picture? And then I took out a picture and I showed them a picture of JV and I, and they were like, oh, he's black. And I was like, yeah. They're like, is that okay? Like, do you guys have problems? And I said, no, it's fine. And they're like, oh, what about your parents? Were your parents angry? And then I pulled out this picture of Father's Day, and it's me and Justin and our dads. And then I figured that would, like, you know, make them feel better, that they would see like our dads are cool, right? And then they're like, oh, thank goodness he's not as black as his dad. And I was
so
like,
offensive. Not okay.
I was like, I don't even know what I said. I can't remember because I just remember going into like oh my god. I don't remember my response, but I remember getting back to the hotel and what's happening, JV, and I was like, can you believe that this is what happened?
It's just in other cultures, other countries.
And they didn't mean it to be offensive.
No, they're just not used to it yet.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I was there for almost 3 weeks and I saw one other non-Chinese person. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's very different to be mixed up there. But yeah, it was quite an experience.
Yeah, culture shock.
Culture shock for real. Yeah. Anything from you?
Do you think racism will ever go away?
That's a good question. It's hard to say. I hated when my mom said that growing up, but it really is hard to say because I hope that our kids can grow up with like as little racism as possible.
Yeah. I think over time.
Teach them love.
Yeah.
Yeah, just teach your kids love, man. Like, don't teach them to hate anyone else. Yeah. Teach your kids to love everyone and everything.
I think over time it'll get better because like we're realizing more and more that skin color doesn't matter. No. We're all humans. So like, because what is it, melatonin in your skin? It doesn't matter. We're all. But my thing is when the aliens come, then there'll be no racism at all because we're all gonna be humans fighting the aliens.
This is my life. This is who I love.
Or if we discover aliens, then there'll be no racism.
And we'll just be humans. Oh my god. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking and subscribing for more nerdiness. We'll try to get more of JV's take in some of the videos so that I don't take over. I love you.
I love you too.
We're out of here.